Welcome back to part 2 of our video tutorial where we are creating a little movie for Caloundra tourism. We've basically got a 1-minute clip that shows off some of the best features of Caloundra. In the first part of the video we created the first 30 seconds or the first half of our video. If I just play it now by pressing the spacebar, let's press the play button actually. Let's turn the volume down so I can talk a bit. Basically got the title in at the start and we threw in a few clips of Caloundra over the top of that. There's also some music running in the background which makes our clip a bit more exciting. We've also got the voiceover coming in here. Caloundra is an aquatic paradise. And it talks a little bit about Caloundra. That only runs for a few seconds and it drops back to some more clips about Caloundra with more music. Okay, so we're halfway through at the moment. What we're going to do in this video is just finish off the timeline by putting the rest of the video clips in. We've got some more narration or voiceover just up here that we have to include, and we're going to enhance the clips just a little bit to make them look a little bit more enticing. Alrighty, so what we're going to do to get started today is just throw in a few more clips about Caloundra along the video 1 layer here. Okay, and the way we do that, we're just going to go back to our assembly tab at the top of the page here. Okay, we need to get into our video clips bin again. We're going to look for a few clips. First one I'm going to look for is the golden bike rider. It's basically a bike rider at Golden Beach. And what I want you to do is pick that clip up and come and drop it down here. So it snaps on to the golden jet ski clip. And don't forget, as soon as you put this clip in, we want to remove this audio layer. Okay, or the audio track. So right click on that clip, unlink the video and audio, and just delete that audio layer. Now when we press play, you can see our bike rider. Now he starts a fair way off in the distance. Okay, what I'd like to do is make him start a little bit closer, so probably about there when he has both hands on the handles. So what I'm going to do is just drag the start of that golden bike rider clip all the way to my playhead, and that will delete that first part of the clip. Now I can pick my clip up and just move it so it snaps back onto the jet ski clip. And so there he goes, riding past. When he's off the frame, you can probably stop it. Alright, and then move to the next clip. So might even just crop a little bit off the start. So he's still a little bit away from the screen there. And then you can ride until he's off the screen. So somewhere probably around there is pretty good. At the moment I'm at the 34-second mark, so somewhere around there is good. So once you're in the right position, just drag the end of that bike rider clip back to the playhead. That will chop it off. And we've got our bike rider clip in there. Coming after the bike rider, I've got a panorama view of Moffat Headland. Okay, so over in my video clip bin, I'll grab the Moffat pan, drag that over to my timeline and snap it onto the bike rider there. Don't forget to right click and unlink those two clips and just delete the audio track. I'm going to have a look at this Moffat panorama. I'm just going to scrub through it quickly. As you can see, it's just a panning shot of Moffat Headland. Okay, the start bit where it sits still, I don't want it. I just want the movement. So I'm going to scrub through my timeline there until the movement starts. And I'm just going to crop from the start of the clip to my playhead. Okay, so it takes off the first part of that clip. I can now move that clip up so it snaps onto the bike rider clip. Now when I press play, I should have some moving footage of Moffat Headland. Okay, we probably want it to go maybe a second longer. Around there we'll stop it and just crop the rest of that off. We don't want to sit there looking at that final scene of Moffat for too long. So it just pans across, maybe sits for a second, and then we cut to the next clip. The next clip is going to be some fishermen at King's Beach. So over here we've got King's Fishermen in our video clip bin. Pick up the King's Fishermen, drag and drop them onto our timeline. Don't forget, right click on them, unlink the video and the audio and delete the audio track. Just going to scroll along a little bit here. Now the fisherman, we're watching this guy in the blue singlet here. I know he might be a little bit hard to see on your screen, but he's going to cast his line in just a moment. So I'm just going to scrub through until I find him casting his line. So there it is. Just before he casts, that's where I want my video to start. So I'm going to just drag that first bit back, so crop off the start of that video. And we'll drag that whole video so it snaps onto the Moffat pan. There we go. We want this to go to about the 45-second mark. Pretty much there. So I'm going to drag the end of that clip back to my playhead just to crop it off. So we've got our King's Fisherman now. He casts his line in. We just let it sit for a second. Alrighty, that's looking good. Okay, the next one we're going to put in is our crab zoom. So that's a king. So King's Beach again, we've got a zoom shot of a crab. Okay, so I'm going to pick that up and drag that onto my timeline. If I play this footage, you've basically got a crab, nice big close-up of him. And after a couple of seconds, it should start zooming out. It's not the smoothest of zooms, but close enough. Alright, so that goes for a fair while. What I'm going to do is just go to the zoom section when it starts zooming. So I don't care about it sitting still. It starts to zoom about there. So I'm going to crop that first part off. And then drag that back over here to where I've got King's Fisherman. I'm also going to unlink those two layers, and don't forget to delete the audio. Now it's about this point in the video where I want my narration to come back in as well, so I might even put it over the top of this crab zoom. So I might just move my voiceover just to the start of that crab zoom there. Okay, so let's have a look at this crab now, zooming out. That goes for a fair while. Actually, it probably takes a little bit too long to zoom out. So what I'm thinking is we stop it. I like the quality there. We might stop it around the 50-second mark. So yeah, we'll say about there. That's pretty good. So we'll just crop the rest of that crab clip off. Okay, so let's see if that's a good one. Just a few seconds of it. Yeah, not bad. One thing I might want to do to this is, instead of zooming out, I'd like it to zoom in. So basically I want it to play this clip in reverse, and there's a quick way to do that. What I'm going to do is select the crab zoom clip and right click on it, and there's an option here, speed and duration. If you select that, a little box is going to appear here. All you need to do is reverse speed. So check that box that says reverse speed, press OK. Now when we watch this clip, it zooms in instead of zooming out. Not bad. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now while I've got all these clips in, what I might do is get this voiceover happening. Alright, so the issue we've got is the music again. It's way too loud. Okay, if I'll turn my volume up a bit and have a listen to this. You can't hear that narration at all. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is fade out this audio track here on the audio 3 layer. So back here at the fisherman clip, maybe about 1 or 2 seconds before the end of the clip, just get your playhead in position when you want the audio to start fading out. Once you've got in position, go down to the audio track and double click on it. That's going to bring up your sound wave. Now what we're going to do is go over to the editing tab here. Okay, and that's going to allow us to edit this track. Okay, so make sure you've got this track selected and you've got the playhead in the right position. What we're going to do is put a keyframe in, so on the level section here. So let's put in the starting keyframe. Right, then we're going to scrub this playhead across to when our narration starts. Okay, you can see our narration on the audio layer above it, this little green patch here. Okay, we still need to be clicked on the music layer though, so make sure you've got that selected still. Got your playhead in position now. This is the point that we want the music completely faded into the background. So I'm going to put another keyframe in now and change the level to -18, which is what we had before. So -18 decibels. So it starts at about this point, goes from 0 and then fades down to 18 decibels. Let's see if we can hear the voiceover a bit better now. Oops.
For nature lovers,
That's better.
Passage is an ideal spot to get up close and personal with a variety of migratory birds as well as dugongs and dolphins.
Alright, so at that point when that video cut off, I mentioned the word birds. Okay, and I've actually got a video clip of some birds we might throw in at this point. Alright, so back in the assembly tab up the top here, I might just go back over, double click on this video, so get the video back. Alright, so we're going to go back and look in our video clip bin, we're looking for the king's birds. Okay, we're going to drag that out and put it after the crab zoom. You might need to move that playhead so it snaps in nicely. Don't forget to unlink it and delete its audio track. You're going to see some birds sitting on some rocks. Now if we scrub through this, I'll just turn the volume down again. You can see a wave come in the background. I think the wave just adds a bit of depth to the clip. Okay, so what I might do is start my clip when that wave rolls in. So I'm going to just crop that first part of the clip when there's no wave. I'm going to put that back here, so let's have a look at how that rolls. So there's the wave rolling through. It stays for a little while there, so you can choose when you want that wave to start and finish. So I might just even crop it a little bit more, maybe about this point. And I want that to last till about the 54-second mark. So basically when the narration finishes, just over here, you can see it's 54-second mark, and the narration just here pretty much finished around that point. Okay, so I'll just crop off the end of that clip.
A variety of migratory birds, as well as dugongs and dolphins.
So as soon as my narration finishes, what we're going to do is put in the next video clip. And the next one is going to be the King's jet ski zoom over here. So pick that up, drag it and drop it onto your timeline. Right click on it, unlink those clips and delete the audio track. Alright, let's have a look. Now that's zooming out. Kind of feels like it's the end of the clip now, which this is what it's going to be because we're at that 1 minute mark. Okay, we don't want to go over that 1 minute mark. So what we're going to do is just get this zooming out. Start zooming about that point, so we'll chop off the start of our clip. Drag it back so it snaps onto the rest of our clips. Let's have a look. Not bad. So we want that to stop just before the 1 minute marks up. So maybe around the 57, 58 point mark. Maybe somewhere around there. It's only going to be a quick clip because we want to put in the Sunshine Coast Tourism logo at the end. So it'll start zooming out. And then we go into the Sunshine Coast Tourism logo. Alright, so that's basically all the film clips, or video clips, in our timeline now. It's probably a good point to go to File menu up the top and save that before you go any further. You don't want to lose all that hard work. Okay, so we're going to add in this end title now. So what we're going to do is just close the video clips off. First of all, images. We've got this logo. I want you to bring that out, and instead of putting it on the video 1 layer, we're going to actually put it on the video 2 layer. So bring out the logo, whoops, click on the logo and drag it out. Drop it on the video 2 layer so it attaches to the Kings Beach jet ski one. You can see it's absolutely massive at the moment, so what we need to do is resize that. Okay, and the way we do that, simply just click on the logo here. You can even double click on it if you wanted to, but we need to go up to the editing tab at the top. From the editing tab, you've got the motion option here that you can expand open. Okay, and you've got a few things here that you can change. The ones we want to change with this logo is the position and the scale. Let's change the scale first of all. We're going to scale it down. So at the moment it's at 100% of its size. By clicking and dragging that number down, you can see that your image resizes. You want to keep it fairly large, so I'm going to go around 49, 50. It's probably going to be a good size. I'll try 50%. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now I want to push it up as well because I want to put in the website address using my text tool down the bottom here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the position here and change its Y value. That's the 360 at the moment, so I'm going to drag that to the left, just make that number smaller, and I'll push it along the Y axis, probably up to about there. That looks pretty good. Now I've got space to write in the website address below it here. Okay. The other thing I want to do, it shouldn't go for any longer than a minute. Okay, we had a strict timeline of a minute, so I've got my playhead to the 1 minute mark. I'm just going to chop off the end of that, put it very quickly there at the end. So that's how it's looking. Not bad. Okay, so now what we need to do is put in the website, and I might change this black background to white as well. I think it's a little bit dark, this black, and it doesn't go well with the colors we've been using. So what I'm going to do is go back to the assembly tab again here. You can close that images bin off. What we're going to do is go into the titles. We need to add a new title in. So go down the bottom next to that trash can and hit the new item option here and choose another title. Okay, remember the settings come up here. All you need to change is the name. We'll just call it end title and click on OK. And up comes the window showing us how we can edit our title. Alright, so I'm going to grab the text tool. Simply click on the page here, and we're going to write in www.visitsunshinecoast.com.au. Obviously that text is too big and it's probably a bit too thick as well, so I'm going to change it back to the condensed font. And up the top here, size is 100 at the moment. I might just bring that down a bit. I'll put a bit of kerning in between the letters. Oops, we need to adjust that one, so that's not too bad. Might just move it into the center roughly. And as I'm going to have a white background, actually I should have done that first, so what I'm going to do is just press Control, actually you can't even press Control X, just delete that text for a moment. Sorry, I should have put this background in first. Grab your rectangle tool, make sure your fill color over here is white, and you can go outside the lines a little bit, just drag a white box over the top of the page. Alright, that's better. Now I'll grab my text tool, click on the page, and start to write that in again. www.visitsunshinecoast.com.au. My text is white at the moment, so I'm just going to have to highlight it and the fill color over here. Might even choose using a little eyedropper, this blue color. And that will match in with the logo there. I know you can't see the logo at the moment, it's hidden behind the white box, but don't worry, it'll come back shortly. Alright, so let's get that in the center, somewhere down the bottom of the page. That looks pretty good. Alright, so once you've got that, the white box and the text on top of it, just hit the cross at the top left there to close that box up. And you should see the end title now over here within all your assets. Just pick it up and drag it into the title so it's in here with your start title. You can then click on that end title and drag it out. Now it's going to go back on the video 1 layer, so below this part here. Let's have a look. So that's how it's looking now. You can see we've got the logo in the background, which is on our video 2 layer, and then we've got right in the background the white box and the website address. Alrighty, so that looks pretty good. Might just need to shorten this end title down to the 1 minute mark. Let's play that ending. Instead of appearing just like that, what we might do is transition between this film clip and the end title. So what you can do is you can go up to editing again, I think it is. And down the bottom left here, you've got some transitions and effects. If you go to video transitions and look for the dissolve transitions, the one I might use is the film dissolve. All we need to do is pick that up. I'm going to zoom in a bit here actually so you can see what I do. Let's leave my playhead out of the way. I want these two clips to dissolve from one to the other, so I'm going to pick up the film dissolve and drop it in the middle of those two clips, and you can see the film dissolve has appeared. Let's just play that and watch the film dissolve in action. Watch your screen up here. So you can see this Visit Sunshine Coast dissolve in. Just watch it. Okay. The issue we've got though is this logo doesn't dissolve in as well because it's on a different layer. So what I'm going to have to do is actually copy this layer here. I think you can right click on it and copy it. I'm just going to click somewhere up the end of my timeline here and just press Control V or Command V on a Mac, and that will paste that clip in. I'm just going to put it on top of the other one. Okay, so I've basically got two of the same clips, one on top of the other. And what I'm going to do now is put that film dissolve effect on this video 2 layer. So just go back over here, pick up your film dissolve, and drag it and drop it between the two. Now we should have both the logo and the text dissolving in. That film dissolve probably takes a little bit too long, so it's probably worth clicking on it and just reducing the size of it a little bit. Do it for both of them so they match up with each other. Okay, all I did was clicked on the transition effect there and just dragged in the edges. Now it should dissolve in a little bit quicker. Alright, so that's the end of our video. The music's still going though. So what we're going to have to do is chop off the end of that music. So you might want to grab your razor tool. Somewhere around here is the end. Okay, just cut it, and then using your black arrow, just delete the end of that music. Now, you might have realized that we didn't turn our music back up when we got to the end of the narration over here. So it stays pretty quiet. What we want to do is get it back to 100% volume, just for this last few clips, and then right at the end we'll get it to fade out again. That's a little bit fiddly, but it won't take us too long. So I'm just going to scroll back across this way a bit. Bring your playhead over here. Listen to the narration. Finish. Okay, so about that point there is when I want the music to come fading back in. Alright, so I'm going to click on this bottom layer, which is my audio layer, and click on the editing tab at the top. And where I've got the level at -18 decibels, I'm going to put a keyframe in. So press that little diamond. Scrolling across to the end of my narration here, and when the next clip starts, I'm going to go and put another keyframe in, and just turn my level back up to 0 decibels. Okay, so we should hear now the music fade back in when we press play. This might be a bit loud. Okay, that's good. Now, same happens at the end, we want it to fade out. Okay, so maybe 1 or 2 seconds before the end. I'll go about 1 second before the end here. I'm just going to click on this bottom layer again, the audio 3 layer or the music track layer. Put in a keyframe on the level up here. Go right to the end. Put another keyframe. And instead of -18 this time, I really want this to be completely mute, so I'm going to put -100 decibels. That way there's no way we can actually hear that. That'll be completely faded out. So let's have a listen. Alright, that's the end. So we've basically got a working video now. Alright, what we need to do now is just touch up the clips, make them look a little bit nicer, and we're done. So what I mean by that, if I just go back to the start clip here, so the King's Views, it's a little bit washed out, and I think the colour doesn't really pop. What we can do is click on this first clip and go up to the colour tab at the top of your page here, and you've got some settings that will appear on the right to allow you to change the colour. Alright, so first one you want to click on is the Basic Correction tab. Okay, you can choose some presets. So through here you've got all these different presets. I don't think they look very good though, so I'll just give you an example of what they look like. You can see in the preview window what sort of effect they have. But yeah, I don't think they look that crash hot for this clip, so I'm just going to go back to none, and I'm going to adjust these levers myself. All I'm going to adjust is the contrast. I'm going to add a little bit of contrast, maybe up to about the 15 to 20 mark. That just basically makes your blacks blacker and your whites a bit whiter. The highlights are the really bright areas of the clip, so up in the sky there. If I drop the highlights down, you can see it brings a bit more detail back into the picture. Okay, don't want to go too dark though, so maybe -20, -30, nothing too crazy. Shadows, let's look through the rocks here as I turn up the shadows. You'll see that it brings out a bit more detail, especially in the trees and the shadows over there. If you go too high, it will wash out your image, so maybe go to about 15 to 20% at the very most with your shadows. Whites and blacks, feel free to adjust those if you want to. Okay, you turn the whites down a bit, turn them up a bit, up to you. It's just up to you what you do with those, but I'm not really going to adjust them too much. The other thing I want to change is in the Creative tab here. So if you click on Creative, all I want to change is the Vibrance. The Vibrance makes the colours pop out a bit more. Okay, it's quite dull, this picture at the moment, but if you turn the Vibrance up, if I go all the way up, you can see a lot more colours come into the clip, but it does look a bit fake. Those greens look a bit too fluoro. So what I might do is just bump it down, maybe around the 50% mark. Will look pretty good. Just adds a bit more colour into the clip. Now, there's other things you can play with here. You can play with curves and colour wheels and all sorts of stuff. Even the vignetting, I think it's called. If you turn that up or down, if you turn it up, you get white borders around your picture. Turn it down, you get those black edges around your shot. You can put them in if you want, but I'm not going to touch them. It's basically the Basic Correction and the Creative tabs we want to play with today. Okay, so you might have also noticed over here the lumertri color tab has appeared, and that's basically got the effects, Basic Correction that you've adjusted and the creative effects that you've adjusted. So just the Vibrance. What I'm going to do, you can minimize that, is click on this lumertri color, right click on it, and copy it. And I can go over to my next clip now, which is this one here of the boat, and simply right click up in here somewhere and paste it on. And those same color effects will be applied to this clip. So I've just got a little bit more enhanced, I suppose. Now on this clip here, I can do the same. Go and paste on my settings. And I can just go through each of those clips and apply those settings. Now you might get to this clip here, paste those settings on. It's a little bit darker than the other clips. So if you compare this clip back to one of these earlier clips, you can see it's a lot darker. Okay, so what I might do is go back over to my basic correction here and just turn the exposure up a little bit. That will just make it a little bit lighter, and it'll look a bit more similar to that first clip we had. Okay, that one's nice and bright, so this one's a bit brighter now as well. Alright, so just keep going through each of those clips, right clicking up in this left hand side here, and just pasting on those settings. This one's a bit dark as well, so I might just turn the exposure up a bit, not too much. Might even turn the highlights down a bit and the shadows up a bit more. Okay, this one's another dark clip, so when we paste in these lumertri color settings here, you might want to turn your exposure back up. Even turn your shadows up a little bit, just so it brings out a bit more detail in the shadows. Remember, don't go overboard with these levers, otherwise it's going to look too fake. Alright, so the Golden Beach one, we'll paste it on. That adds some nice colour to it. Moffat Headland, paste it in. Up here again, we'll paste it in. Nearly done now. It's probably a quicker way to do this, but I just want to watch each clip as I do it to make sure that we're not adjusting the colour too much. Paste that on. Might need to get on the top clip here and just paste that in. Alrighty, so we're done there now. Let's just go back to the very start. You can see this red line has appeared again through here because we've added all these new effects. So you're going to have to mark your in point again and go right to the very end. There, where is it? Just there. Mark your out point using that little pointy or curly bracket. And you're going to have to go up to sequence and render into out. That'll probably take a little while on my video there, but basically it's just going to render your entire clip there, make sure everything's running smoothly. I might just pause the video for a sec while this goes, and then I'll come back and wind up. Alright, so my rendering is done now. You can see the green line running across here on my timeline, which shows that all my videos should be processed and they'll be running smoothly if I press the play button. So I'm just watching this now. Everything's looking good. The added colour I think looks great.
Paddleboarding, windsurfing, fishing and jet skiing.
The volume's faded back in nicely. Show you the volume fade out in the background music in a sec, and we'll get our narration back in.
For nature lovers, the Hummerstone Passage is an ideal spot to get up close and personal with a variety of migratory birds as well as dugongs and dolphins.
Alright, so that's sounding good. Alrighty, so we have a finished video. Okay, I'm just going to right click up on the top of my timeline and just clear the in and out points there. We don't need them anymore. It's time to save up our project. Okay, so make sure you go to the file menu at the top and choose save. That'll just quickly save your project. Now if you want to export this video as an actual video, not a Premiere project, you need to go back to your file menu and you need to go all the way down to export. Now if you can't see these options listed, you might have maybe one certain clip selected, so just click off all your clips for a moment and go to file, export, and you need to choose media. Okay, now this will bring a box up in just a second. It's going to give you a whole heap of different options, and a lot of it's not going to make a great deal of sense right now. But the format you want to save in, one of the most common formats you'll find today, is H.264. Okay, it reduces the file size of a video quite a bit, and it remains in high quality. Okay, so H.264 is what you want to have your format as. Okay, the next thing you want to do is the output name. You want to change that. So all you need to do is click on that, and it's going to ask you what you want to call it. So I'm going to save this one as Caloundra Beach video. Or Caloundra Beaches video, actually. And you can choose where you want to save that. I already can see that that's saving in the right file. File format should be MP4. And just click on Save. So that's got our file name sorted out. We want to export the video and audio, so leave both of those checked. You can have a closer look at your settings through there if you want. You can adjust some of this stuff, the audio and video and whatnot, but I'm not going to touch that right now. Okay, I think it's fine how it is. So I think we're good to go. So down the bottom, just click on the Export button, and that's going to quickly render and export your video. Could take a little while. Okay, this video goes for 1 minute. On my computer, it's going to take 3 minutes to encode it and export it. Once it's done that, it's just going to simply save the MP4 file into your account, and you'll be able to play it. You can upload it to YouTube. You can do what you want with it. Okay, so I'm just going to pause my tutorial here for a sec, just while this video encodes, and then I'll show you the finished product in a moment. Alrighty, so you can see that my encoding is almost done now, sitting at 95%, a few seconds longer. And we'll be able to check our accounts to see our finished video. Okay, so that's 100%. You'll see this box disappear in just a moment. There we go. So that means it's all done. So if I go over to my account now, okay, I forget where I actually saved this. I think it was on my desktop actually. Here it is right here. I've saved it in the wrong folder after all that, but if I double click on this, we'll just open up my QuickTime player, whatever media player you've got to work with, and it's going to show us our video. Okay, there we go. So it's in HD format, so 720p. That's a reasonable size. We can play that video and watch it through. You've already seen it before, so I don't need to show you the whole thing again, but that's working well. Alrighty. So that's all I'm going to show you in this video. Hopefully you got all that. There is quite a lengthy process, a lot of fiddling around to get a successful video, but I think if you followed my tutorial closely, you should have yourself a pretty decent looking 1 minute video.